So you want to rank up your weapons in Modern Warfare 3. You want those camos, you want your weapons ready for Warzone, whatever the reasoning may be. I get it. Weapon leveling in recent years has been my main focus, and today I want to give you my guide on how best to do that as quickly and efficiently as possible. I know some of their guides are already out there, but I want to take my time, test the data, get enough weapons leveled to give you my genuine tips and confirmation, and have that data backing my recommendations. As we go along, drop your thoughts down below. How you like the weapons in Modern Warfare 3? How's your grind going? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts. If you enjoy the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it, and subscribe if you're new. We're chasing down 600,000 subscribers, so I'd love to have you in the community, and we'll keep it to date with all things tips, tricks, guides, tutorials, and news from Modern Warfare 3. Finally, use code Espresso for 30% off your entire order of G Fuel to fuel your COD grind for weapons, camos, you name it this launch season, and make sure to follow over on Twitch where we'll be live grinding a ton this launch season. I'd love to chat with you guys. But anyways, let's jump into it. First and foremost, while all these tips work at base, I would absolutely recommend double weapon XP tokens. It's a no-brainer, I get it, but if you played Modern Warfare 2 last year, you might have a few stockpiled. They can absolutely make a world of a difference in whatever way you decide to go out of these tips. But just as a base default tip, it's an obvious choice, make sure you use it. Now the first method here is my personal favorite, and one that I'm probably sure you've seen make the rounds already, but it is absolutely data-driven, one of the best options here for you in ranking up fast. That is zombies. Now for this farming method, you're going to be wanting to set whatever weapon you want to rank up as your insured weapon and infill with that. For this, it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. Initially, I thought we could maybe just treat it like the contract farming back in the days of Warzone 1 and the supply run contracts, but unfortunately, that's not the most efficient method. You can, of course, do that, but anything you do, completing contracts, running over zombies, if you end up having that main primary weapon as the weapon that would be in hand if you jumped out of your vehicle, whatever the case, that'll still credit to that weapon's XP, but the best and most efficient way comes down to a strat that going from the start, you want to find a bounty contract or a high value target contract, go there, take them out, and then you'll get an upgrade. Usually it's a pack-a-punch. It also could be a weapon rarity level increase, both making your weapon better. But for me, I've prioritized the pack-a-punch, gives more damage, especially in that low threat zone. Then once you do that, you have a weapon pack-a-punch. Well, all you have to do is go to an exfil, go to one on the outside of the map, go to one in a low threat zone, because it does not matter if you're in the low, medium, or high threat zones, you're still going to get the same amount of XP if you end up doing this method, but it takes way less in regards to stress and any sort of damage that may be dealt to you. Those medium and high threat zones have way stronger zombies that are, one, faster, more armor on them, more health, and there are boss zombies out there. If you go to an exfil on the outskirts of the map on a low threat zone, they don't really have much. Worst case, they have like one armor plate. But again, with a pack-a-punch weapon, it's going to be like 1 to 2 shots more max. Now, zombies will trigger whenever you get to that exfil zone. So you can clear the horde out there, then you can call the exfil, it will spawn even more. And that's the bigger horde you'll end up finding. So you can fight those off until the exfil chopper comes in. If you clear the wave before the exfil chopper leaves and that countdown timer is still going on, jump in, it will bring that timer down to the final 5 or 4 ticks, and then it will leave. And then you have about 30-second to 60-second cooldown, and then the exfil can be called again. And at that point, you just repeat the whole process. Now, at first, this will be something that seems like it goes a little bit slow. If you end up starting this farming method, you get your pack-a-punched weapon with like 35 minutes or 30 minutes left in the game, it will take a little bit of time, because once you end up getting towards those final minutes, there are more zombies that do spawn around that exfil location. So you can absolutely expedite the process, because there's probably 2 to 3 more times the amount of zombies in those final like 10 to 15 minutes before the gas comes in. Now, one other thing here that is beneficial is that while this is great for solo players, if you play in a duo or trio, it acts exactly the same as those classic zombie maps did, where you'd end up having more zombies spawn for however many more players there are. So if you have a group of friends to play with, this is absolutely the best way to go about it. So the pros, well, it's all AI you're playing. There's no PvP in zombies at all, which is way more relaxed, way more chill. I just put on music and just mindlessly grind it out. And it's insanely fast. Again, you're ranking up weapons in sometimes 30 minutes, 45 minutes or so. Depends on how many weapon levels there are. I've gotten weapons that are like level 20-ish done in one game or close to it. If there's weapons that are like level 28 and 29, you might need to go back in for another round. But I mean, still realistically, real time, you're probably talking about like an hour to an hour and 15. But if you play regular multiplayer, you have all that time in match that it depends on if you do well or not. There's so many different variables about who you'll go up and play against, but you also have that infill, exfil time, the time between matches, all that really starts to add up. So grand scheme of things, while this is the easiest, it actually might be right on par with the fastest too. The only cons to this method though is that sometimes it takes a long time to set up, or more time to set up. Sometimes you don't get the luck of the draw on the HVT reward yield that you have to keep farming zombies, or maybe even do another one, take some time away from that grind that you could be farming zombies. Sometimes you don't own that exfil solo like yourself if you go in just as yourself, or maybe there's another team with your team. Again, while that does help out with the spawn rates of zombies, sometimes they may be taking more zombies than you may be ending up getting, so it doesn't equate out to an even split there. So you may end up losing out on some of that potential XP. And sometimes the worst is you dev error. Unlike a server disconnect where the server just dies, you don't get anything back. You end up losing all of your momentum. You lose all your items that transferred, like your plate carrier, backpack, self-revive, and most importantly to us, your insured weapon slot, putting it on a cooldown of an hour at base. So if you, probably just jumping in this early out of the year, don't have a second or third insured weapon slot, you're out of luck for a little bit, especially if you do have, again, a double XP token going where you have 30 minutes on a double XP token, but you have an hour cooldown on your weapon. Kind of screwed at that point. So pros and cons for sure with that. But the next method that we can talk about is kill confirm spamming. This is a farming method where you're gonna be throwing a bunch of decoy grenades, you're gonna be picking up tags and playing that objective, but the weapon loadout of choice that I would say is your demolition vest for that resupply effect, decoy grenades, and any weapon you want to rank up at that point. Again, the biggest part, you want to spawn in, throw those decoy grenades, you get 2 at base, but they resupply again every 25-ish seconds or so. So you can throw multiple in one life, and anytime that in that radius of the effect somebody gets a kill, you get the assist on that. So passive XP in that regard. Confirming tags, again, the more tags you pick up, the higher kill streaks you go on, it is something that adds even more incremental XP as well. So the pros, you get a lot of passive XP alongside this. And my personal favorite with multiplayer methods here is that you get to rank up your weapons and work on weapon MP camos at the same time, which is always nice to get 2 birds with 1 stone at that point. However, the only cons right now that goes kind of across the board here for multiplayer is the skill-based matchmaking or retention-based matchmaking. If you're a solo player, it's pretty rough right now. If you're not into sweating out, this launch window is going to see a ton of that, so it might be something that kind of pushes you the opposite direction. Sometimes it can be super tough with those lower tier weapons as well. Like I was using the AMR9, which I personally think is one of the worst weapons. I know there may be some contention to that, but personally speaking, hated it. But I was going up against like DG58s, which are a 1-burst weapon across the map, and I got a little pea shooter of an SMG. Again, doing things like the pistols against an MCW or something like that, the launcher of the RGL80. If you're using that kind of stuff, you already ranked up your good weapons, well, you're probably going to have a bad time in some of those matches. Again, especially if they are super sweaty. Though when it comes to multiplayer, I'd say that's probably my personal favorite method to rank up, and it does have the XP yield rates to back that up. Then the war mode is another good one, but it's very situational here. I think that if you were to like look at 1-to-1 ideal situations, war may beat out, say, your kill confirm spamming, but again, it's kind of few and far in between, especially if you do play as a solo player or in a small party of like 2 or 3 out of the 6. Now the pros for this is that you can extend the game to be rather long. There are 3 sort of checkpoints that go down to have an overtime segment every single time the time for each of those runs out. So you can extend it, and then you have the round flips where you have to play the other side as well. So it can be a long game, which is definitely nice, and that increases the amount of kill potential, that increases the amount of XP yield rates, because you have just more time you're spending in game rather than out. Additionally, you can rack up an insane amount of kills here with this. All of the segments of the war map are pretty straightforward, quite literally, like it's a giant tug of war where there's not too many flank routes, it's just kind of all push forward as a group and make sure you try and secure those kills. So it is something that there is an insane amount of kill potential. I've seen creator friends of mine put up 150, 200 kills, and most matches, honestly, that I was in for the duration or didn't join late, that maybe went time for both sides. Even random teammates I saw racking up 80 to 90 kills regularly. And finally, you also mix that funneled and filtered kill potential in with going on streaks, where you're going to do insanely well. For those of you guys that don't know, kill streaks end up having a very big advantage in regards to how your XP yield rate works for weaponry. Every 5 kills, that 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30, and then upwards every kill after 30, there's an incremental bonus that is sort of like a reward or milestone XP yield rate. So a Bloodthirsty grants more XP than the 4th kill individually. It's a bonus XP essentially on those markers. But once you get up to 30 and 31, Well, every single one counts as that unstoppable medal. So every single kill, 31, 32, 33, 34, and so on until you die, has an extra XP bonus. I want to say in the past, it's been like 500 XP every kill, 1000 XP every kill as a result of that. So it is something that if you can get those streaks going, you can run the game. It's insanely beneficial. Now the cons though, again, not great for solos at all. It's very tight, very narrow quarters in which those gunfights will happen. And also, if you're trying to use things like a weaker SMG, a pistol or something like that, you are just going to get gunned by somebody that's using a meta DG58, MCW, SVA 545. Those rifles are going to shred through anything and you're not going to have a good time. So that is absolutely a massive con with that. And again, if you come down to solos, if you don't play in a full squad of 4 or 5 or 6 people that you can fully control the entire flow of the map, a lot of times you're not going to reach that extended time frame. Your team's either going to win or lose too fast. You're just not going to have as much potential time to end up getting that XP yield rate increased as much as possible. Next, hardcore is a great way to air quote farm, even though it's just simply playing, I'd recommend. But less health in hardcore means, in theory, easier kills. Also, more medals for doing just the basic stuff. With how many things do get one shot, one kills, that's a bonus medal XP every single time that's credited to that weapon and its rank. So it's absolutely something that just simply playing hardcore is very easy. Honestly, that's probably where I'd recommend things for like your pistols or your marksman rifles, stuff that in core would not kill as well, things that in zombies it wouldn't be as beneficial or efficient to do that as fast as possible. You don't have 100 rounds to lay into a horde of zombies like you would an LMG or something like that. You only have 20 rounds or something with the MCW 6.8 or whatever as an example. So that kind of stuff I'd highly recommend in like hardcore more than anything. And finally, the last method that I think is viable, but I don't think that I'd recommend, is invasion. Last year, it was the method, I thought, because you'd go behind enemy lines, set up shop, and farm bot kills, because the game recognized those incremental kills as regular kill streak kills. So since they counted for like every 2 to 3 of a regular kill, bots versus players, you'd see that sort of incremental bonus of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and upwards still count and give those bonuses for bots. So every 5 bots would, on the back end, to give that XP boost for what would be the 5th bloodthirsty kill. Meaning that if you ended up getting upwards of 30 plus kills, you'd trigger that insane unstoppable bonus that we just talked about for every single bot killed. So the bonus would stay the same even if the bot XP wasn't giving you as much as a regular player kill. Let's just say theoretically every player kill would be 100 XP and a bot kill would be 20 XP or 25 XP per bot. But every single kill giving that bonus of like 500 XP, well, you can see that you would very quickly outpace the regular XP yield rate, even if you were on like a 5 to 10 kill streak, and you're doing it all against bots. So the pros, being that this does carry over now into Modern Warfare 3, is that it is super fast, like stupidly fast if you can get to those higher levels and higher kill streaks on bots. The only cons though, because that's the really only pro, it's invasion. There's no mid-map spawn points unless you have attack insert, so it is something that if you die, you spawn almost all the way back at your HQ and have to run for a minute to get back into the action. And that's still if you have a guarantee of not getting sniped along the way or killed by somebody camping, watching an angle as you clear a field with no cover. So I feel like when I played it, it was just very campy this time around. The maps on offer this year have so much open space as opposed to like Sarif Bay last year had so many different ways you could go in and out and kind of avoid any long-range engagements where somebody was camping with a sniper. That's probably the only thing I'd say was actually good on Sarif Bay. Did not like that map otherwise, but anyways, it's a major camp fest, which I don't remember it being as much last year, but I mean, it's something that I just didn't have as much time-efficient experiences here in Invasion this year so far. Also, I feel like, and this could be placebo just because I was like having a bad time and wasn't finding my way into the back end of their spawns really all that much by comparison, I feel like there weren't as many bots spawning this time, which is strange. But anyways, that is the 5 best methods I'd say for ranking up, but my personal recommendations, I think it depends on what you want out of your rank up experience. If you want to sweat out, obviously do things like the war mode or the kill confirm spamming method. But if you want something that's more chill, I'd say to do your primaries in those weapons that can have a larger magazine capacity. So like rifles, SMGs, LMGs, battle rifles, that stuff I'd say to do in zombies, because that is the best and most efficient time-wise for XP yield rates. But if you want to jump over to like hardcore to again do those marksman rifles, those pistols maybe, I think that might even be a better method here with that. Pistols, it might get a little bit weird because there are so many maps that are so big. It's not like hardcore shipment, but I think a healthy balance between the two is probably one of the best ways to go about it. So that's what I would recommend. That is what I think you can breeze through your weapons and what I've been breezing through my weapons with. So that to me is the definitive best ways to rank up in Modern Warfare 3 for your weapons. But that said, that is now we're going to call it. So let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this here in regards to weapon leveling in Modern Warfare 3? Like any of these methods in particular? Have you done any yourself? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video, if you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to stay updated with all things Modern Warfare 3, best guides, tips, tutorials, all that kind of stuff we got you covered here on the channel. So I'd love to have you in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.